Okay, so welcome. We are starting encounter 19 from our now infamous Learning Biblical Hebrew series for beginning Biblical Hebrew, HE 102, second segment of this course. This week we're going to look at chapter 19. That throws together three different new stems. It's the Piel, the Pual, and the Hitpael. Kind of a lot of material to cover, so we'll go ahead and get started. Well, before we do though, we've decided that we're going to do on Thursday night the grammar introduction, where we get to look more carefully at the grammar without skimping on the reading. So the reading will be moved to Tuesdays. That way we'll get a whole hour for reading and a whole hour for grammar, and that way we get to cover more, I think. So here we go. Beginning Biblical Hebrew. We're looking at Binyanim, Cal, and Nifal. This is our review from the last couple of meetings. So our first binyan was, of course, the Cal system. Okay, we've got, this should all be reviewed, so we're going to just click it up here real quick. Shamarti, the perfect is the suffix tense, where we've got the T, tat. Again, I didn't fix that mistake. Shamart. Right there. Let me pull up the red laser pointer. So this should be Shamart. I think I said that last week. Messed that up. Shamar, Shamra, Shamarnu, and etc. with the tem, ten, and u endings. The imperfect, the prefix tense with the eshmor, tishmor, tishmeri. We went over this quite a bit in the first segment of the course. Volitionals we covered quickly at the end of the first course, but basically we've got eshmera, let me do it, or I shall do it, like a cohortative type thing. The imperative shmor and shimri. The jussive yishmor and tishmor. Again, cohortative, imperative, and jussive in the first, second, third person plural. Shomer, shomeret, shomrim, shomrot, the active participle, which is often used as a substantive type of noun, like a guardian or something like that. In football terms, the shomer is the one who guards the goal, like the goalposts, goalie, shomer. The passive shamur is like reserved. You can have a shulchan shamur, a reserved table, and such and all that. Okay, here we go. We've got the same root in the nifal. This is what we covered last week, where the nifal means it was, like you would say, it's passive. It was guarded, or it was kept. It was reserved. Nishmarti means I was guarded. Nishmarta, you were guarded. And so nishmarnu, we were guarded. Nishmeru, they were guarded, and so on. This is what we covered last week. Eshamer, I will be guarded, where the nifal has that nun that's assimilated in the first root. Eshamer, tishamer, tishamri, yishamer, tishamer. Okay, it generally maintains a three-syllable structure. Tishamer, yishamer, nishamer. Okay, that's basically how it works. The volitionals are similar to the imperfect, with the hey added right there. We got question. Nifal also for the Kutz. Don't know. Okay. So let's see. You got the next bit. The participles. We don't have a passive one. We've got nishmar, nishmeret. Notice the difference between the past tense. Nishmar, he was kept, excuse me, and the participle nishmar is the length of the vowel. Notice the short vowel here is in the nishmarta and nishmarti, nishmarnu. That short vowel is kept in the perfect, but in the participle, the long vowel, nishmar, nishmarim, nishmarot, long vowel. Okay, that's the difference between them. All right, so this week we're looking at the binyanim Piel, Pual, and Hitpael. These are the new stems. Another way to call these stems is basically with a D or a G. Let's look at what this means. In comparative Semitics, that is the linguistic study of the various Semitic languages like Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, Ugaritic, Akkadian, Syriac, Ge'ez, The Kal stem is referred to as the G stem. G means Grund in Arabic. In German, it means ground. But what that means, it's the base. It's the basic one. It's the ground stem. We call it Kal in Hebrew. What we call in the Piel stem in Hebrew is called the D stem.
D stem.
D means doubled.
Doubling.
Okay, so G is ground, D is doubled. Why do we call it doubled? Because the middle radical of our three root letters, the middle one is doubled. It takes Nagesh. So it's doubled, and so we call it the D stem, the doubled stem. So the Pual is called DP because it's doubled and passive. P means passive. Okay, and the Hitpael that we're learning is doubled with a hit prefix. So HTD, hit, because it's prefixed by hit. Okay, these are the three stems that that we read about this week in learning biblical Hebrew. So a couple of questions. Why use the terminology D, or G, D, DP, and DT? Why would we use that terminology? What do you think?
Because it's sorry.
Because it's what?
It's well, D stem doubled, so it's how do I say that? It explains itself.
Well, think
stem.
about if you're looking at these other languages: Aramaic, Arabic, Ugaritic.
I took an Akkadian class before.
It allows us to compare what happens in these Semitic languages, because all of them are going to have a stem that the middle radical is doubled, but the vowels may be different. So in Hebrew, it's Piel, but in another language like Aramaic, it's Pael. The vowels are different, but the middle radical is still doubled. Okay, so it allows us to speak about what happens in the various Semitic languages and to compare them one to another. We're going to be adding the H stem and the HP stem. That's H is Hithpael, which we're going to learn in the next chapter, and HP is the Hithpael passive, which is Hufal. We're going to learn in the next chapter. So if we have this terminology, why should we use the terminology Kal, Piel, Pual, and Hitpael? Why would we use these?
The vowels, no? So you have an idea what the vowels are.
Because this is it's specific to Hebrew. So when we're talking about Hebrew grammar, this lets us mention specifically the stems that we have in Hebrew. There are more than just the 7 that we're going to cover. These are the most common. There are some that are less common that we'll look at as well in the grammar. Anyway, so we'll be adding the Hithpael and the Hufal in the next chapter. But for now, commonalities between these stems, that is between the D stems. That's Piel, Pual, and Hitpael. In all of these cases, we see the Nagesh in the middle letter. You see the Nagesh? There's Nagesh, 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 Nagesh. Also with the hit prefix, we still have the 3 root letters, and we have Nagesh in each middle letter. That Nagesh is the doubling. Okay, so that's why we call it D. This is D stem. This is DP stem. That's the passive of the D stem. And this is the HT D, like the hit with the doubling. So as in all other situations, the gutturals and resh will refuse Nagesh and display lengthening. So atach will go to kamatz, like Hitbarech. He was blessed, or he blessed himself, made a blessing over himself. So diber means he spoke. Shilem, also shilam in the Bible, he paid. Tziva, he commanded. We've seen Mitzavacha Hayom in the Shema passage that we looked at. Kidesh, that's he made holy, or he declared something holy. Gileach, he shaved his beard. Ugileach et zakan, or Gileach et panav. Dubar was spoken. So Ivrit dubra, Hebrew was spoken. Be'eretz Canaan. Shulam, Here we see the pattern is U followed by A. Dubar, Shulam, Suva. Something was commanded or someone was commanded to do something. Suva. Kudash was made holy, and Gulach was shaved. The U pattern is the passive of this E pattern. Does that make sense? Did you go over the? I hope you read the chapter, that you went over it, and we're kind of pulling things you've already read about.
Yes.
Good, good. So the Hitpael, generally, if we could think of the Piel as like an intensive type meaning of the root, the Pual is its passive. We'll look at that in a second. And then it asef, it kadesh, it galeach. These are like the almost, many times the root, they have a reflexive sense. That is, the actor both does the action and it happens to him. So most of the time, itasef is going to be plural. Itasfu, they gathered, like they gathered together. It's like they're calling each other and they're coming together. The action is happening to them and they're doing it. Itkadesh is something that becomes holy. Okay, like when you say the Lord's Prayer, hallowed be thy name. May your name be holy. So it's Yitkadesh Shimcha. Yitkadesh Shimcha. In all other situations, okay, we already said that. So Itgaleach, ani megaleach et hazakan. I shave my beard. Hazakan gulach, or ani gulachti. Somebody shaved me, so gulachti. Itgalachti, I shaved, like I shaved myself. This is a reflexive tense. Okay, we're going to go into the Piel specifically. Here we go. From the same root, shamar. The Piel infinitive is l'shamer. And from shamar, which means kept, l'shamer means preserved. Okay, it's the same root, but it's intensified. So keep and preserve are the same basic meaning, but one is more intense than the other. Kind of, it happens in Latin, I noticed, that we have servare and conservare. Like one is just like an intensification of the other. Shamer, and the book says that we also have shamo, like this for an infinitive absolute. We're not going to see infinitive absolutes outside of the Cal as frequently. The Cal is very, very frequent, whether it's like haloch, halachta, naton, natanta, natata. But the outside of the Cal, we're not going to worry so much about the infinitive absolute. You will see it from time to time, but it's not a big deal to like memorize that that's the form. So this is what we get the Piel. The Piel is named after this form right here. It's E-A, P-El, She-Mer. Okay, that's what it's named after. But it's also quite common when we have the third masculine singular form in the Bible for it to have the A, the patach, instead of the tzere. So like I said, shilem, in modern Hebrew says shilem, he paid. But in the Bible, it often has shilam. Shilam, he paid. And I'm not sure why they have both options, but you just be aware that they exist. So Piel and Pial, if you will, they're the same basic meaning.
Jason,
so we've got.
Which is the more common? The one that the stem's named after, Shimer? Or
I think it is. But remember that the majority of the Bible is going to be in two types of forms. Most of it is going to be in narrative, so it's telling something in the past, and it's going to use the Vav consecutive. Most of the text of the Bible uses the Vav consecutive, or it's going to be some kind of instructional material, and it's going to use an imperative. An imperative and a Vav consecutive with perfect. So we're not going to see the third masculine singular form like this in a lot of situations. You know, it's going to be like instead of this, it's going to say like vaishamer if it would use this word. It would use like the imperfect with a vowel consecutive, vayishamer. Okay. So anyway, we've got shimarti. I'm not actually convinced that this is a biblical word. We use it in modern Hebrew. I'm not sure, but I just pulled it for the forms. You could use shibarti, which shibarti doesn't exist, but vayishaber does exist in the Bible. It means like shattered. You've got shavar, he broke, and shiber, he shattered. Like it's an intensified version of the verb. So shimarti means I preserved. Shimarti. Shimarta, you preserved. Shimart, you preserved, for if you're speaking to a woman. Shimer or shimar, he preserved. Shimra, she preserved. Shimarnu, we preserved, or we have. Shimartem, shimarten, shimru. Okay, that's basically the structure of the Piel. It's I-A most of the time. Even though we say Piel in the perfect tense, it becomes A in all forms, except for the third masculine singular. Okay, looking at the imperfect, we're going to have basically this internal structure, A, okay, for the imperfect. So I heard somebody drop out there. Let's see what's going on. I guess Mike had to go. So shamer is the internal structure. See it right there, shamer. Shamer. Whenever it takes a vowel that reduces, we already are aware that that happens according to our vowel change rules. So shamer, shamri, shamer, shamer. Here we've got a vowel on the end, so shamru, shamer, shamer. You can see that shamer is preserved throughout the forms. Okay, this is a feature of the Piel. And then we just add our prefixes and our suffixes, preformatives and subformatives. Ashamer, tishamer, yeshamer, tishamer. When you get the vowel, tishamri. Nishamer, tishamru. Tishamerna, tishamerna, yeshamru. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. That's a really nice thing about the Piel. Mostly about all of the forms outside of the Cal, except the Nifal is crazy, but the rest of them are pretty easy. Mm-hmm.
Jason, before we move forward, and it's probably something I've forgotten, I'm looking, I guess, at the second feminine singular with the vowel E suffix and the long vowel under the mem reduces. Is that, no, it didn't reduce down to a segal. It went to a schwa, and that.
Wow, good point. I remember that the book said that reduction can only go by one step. Is that what you're referring to?
I don't know if it said that, but certainly in terms of when I was thinking reducing, I mentally had assumed one step, but it's gone all the way down to
I just flipped open on page 68 of the book. At the very top, let's see, the sentence begins the previous page. It says, as noted in previous sections, the long vowel in chacham could never have reduced to the shva as seen in chachamim. Vowels only shift one step, short to reduced or short to long, but not long to reduced. I'm constantly trying to make sense of the vowel rules that they give in this book, because sometimes they just don't conform to reality. I think that they're good guidelines, but not necessarily something that you have to hold fast to. Because this is an example where that sere does reduce definitely to, I don't know, maybe we should consider that originally it was a short and it was lengthened in all of those forms. Yeah. I don't know.
Can I offer some insight?
Sure.
First of all, when it comes to vowel rules, verbs are always your exception. Second of all, historically, the sere is a short vowel. It's a lengthened short, so it doesn't violate the rule of going back one step. because you're going
Because-
from short
because
to reduced.
Historical long would be like the Chirik Yod, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool. Okay. Thank you very much. So that's the oddity is that Sere reduces when a vocalic ending is added, that it becomes Shva. So that's only in 3 cases, these 2 and that one there. Okay, very nice. The volitionals are going to be basically the same as what we've already run into. Ashamra. This is the vocalic ending reduces that to Shva. Ashamra. Let me keep. Nishamra. Let us keep or preserve. Excuse me. Shamer is imperative, and Shamri. Yeshamer to Shamer looks like the imperfect for the jussive. Okay, the times whenever the volitionals in the jussive are going to look different than the imperfects is whenever you have the weak roots like kum, the ones that have vav and yod or that have a final hey. Those are the ones that are going to have the jussive acting up. So shamru, shamerna, yeshamru to shamerna. Okay. Just like with the nifal, the Piel does not have a passive participle because the Piel has a passive as the Pual, so we don't need a Piel passive participle. We'll just use the participles of the Pual for it. So mishamer, basically you have just like you'll have in the future, yeshamer, drop the yod and add a mem in all of the participles outside of the kal and nifal, all of them add mem prefix. Okay, so we've got mishamer, mishameret, mishamrim, mishamrot. The book, instead of mishameret, has mishamra. I don't know how common that is. I don't know. To me, it's mishameret. The eret and the a basically are the same idea, but for me, this is much more common as eret. Mishameret, medaberet. Ani medaber, I speak. He medaberet, she speaks. Anachnu medaberim, we speak. Behen medaberot, they speak. All right, here we go. We're going to look at speaking. That's what we were just throwing out there. Dibarti, I spoke. Dibarta, you spoke. Dibart, diber. This one, for whatever reason, is going to be found many times with a segol. But you should learn it with a tsere. You're going to find it sometimes with segol. Just like you have shilem and shilam. Here you have diber and diber, one with tsere and segol. It doesn't matter in that case. Okay. Dibra, she spoke. Dibarnu, we spoke. Dibartem, dibarten, diburu. Dibru. Imperfect, same idea. You've got the daber structure in the middle, tadaber, yadaber, and so on. Adaber, tadaber, tadabri, yadaber, tadaber, nedaber, tadabru, tadaberna, yadabru, tadaberna. The same form. Okay. Adabra, let me speak. Nedabra, let us speak. Daber, speak. Dabri, speak. Notice the imperative has the a, daber, and the perfect has the e, diber, he spoke. Speak, he spoke. Okay, dabri, speak. Yedaber, let him speak. Tedaber, let her speak. Just like tedaber, she will speak. Dabru, speak. Daberna, to a group of women, speak ye. Yedaber, let them speak, and tedaberna, let the women speak. Right. Again, we don't need the passive because we have pual. So medaber, medaberet, medabrim, medabrot. So far, so good. I believe we're going to add the pual. Pual and piel go hand in hand. Pual is the passive of the piel. So here we go. Shumar, where we said shimer meant he preserved. Shumar means he was preserved, or it was preserved. Shumar. Shumarta, you were preserved. Shumarta. Shumarti, I was preserved. Shumart, I was thinking of this one. Shumart, this is you were preserved for a woman. And Shumra, she was preserved. Shumarnu, Shumartem, Shumarten, Shumru. Okay, the imperfect. Again, we've got a, te, ye, and so on. Ashumar, tishumar, shumri. Okay, te, shumri, shumri, yeshum. Wait, shumar. This should not be eh. All of these should be a. I don't know why I typed them wrong. This is ashumar, not ashumer. Shumar. Like when I was typing quickly, made mistakes. I wasn't reading it in my head. This is Yishumar, Shumar, Yishumar. This is shu. Oh, this is full of mistakes. I'm sorry. This is a kubutz. The shumar, shumru, shumarnu. Sorry, teshumarna, shumarna, yishumru. These are not forms that you use a lot, obviously.
Jason, the pronunciation of these that start with tav with a schwa. I was trying to listen carefully to exactly how you were doing it. I mean, were you running the tav straight on?
It is normal to make them sound like a ch.
True.
Like for the word 900, it's written teshameot, but you read chamot. Chameot means 900. It's kind of strange, but it's how it's normally said. I'm going to correct these while we're here so that whenever I upload this later, it will have the right vowels and stuff.
Are you trying to screen share at the moment?
No, I've
Okay.
closed it. Okay, I think that is good. It looks good. I go from there and screenshot now. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so ashumar, tishumar, shumri, yishumar, shumar. Come back. Nishumar, okay. Shumru, shumarna, shumarna, shumru. Okay. Here we go. This is empty. Ignore that one that's there because it's actually just saying it's an alternative form. There are no volitionals or like there is no adjussive for the pual. Okay, so don't worry about that. And there are also no passive participles, so don't worry about that. Mishumar, mishumeret, mishumarim, shumarot. It's like the Piel where you add the mem to the root. Okay, so you got shumar and you add mem to the beginning of it, just like the Piel. All right, the next one, how lovely. So we could also turn the shamar root into hishtamer. Okay, hishtamer according to our dictionary, that is this one here. According to Holiday, it means to be careful. I'll take it on its word. Hishtamarti. Notice the pieces of that. Let me highlight them for you. That Nagesh. That's what we're talking about. It's a HT and then D. D is because it's doubled. HT is because it's got the prefix. This root is a bit funky because the SH and the T have changed places. This is metathesis. It's on page 244. Okay, if you have heat, and it's followed by one of the sibilants. Well, that just can't be good, can it? Try this again. Okay, when you've got the heat prefix, and it's followed by one of the sibilants with shin, samech, zayin, sin. If it's followed by one of the, or tzadi even, if it's followed by one of the sibilants, they trade places. Okay. Not only do they trade places, if it's zayin, then the taf becomes dalet, and if it's tzadi, the taf becomes tet. Very funny. We'll go over that in a few minutes. I didn't give an example later on of tzadi to tet, but I'll point one out. So hishtamarti, that's shin mem resh. I was careful. Hishtamarti. Hishtamarta, you were careful. Hishtamart, hishtamer, hishtamra, hishtamarnu, hishtamartem, hishtamarten, hishtamarnu. Or hishtamru, excuse me, that's hishtamarnu, this is hishtamru. Okay, basically you just put that hit on there, and in this case it changes places, but that's we'll look at some that don't. So eshtamer, tishtamer, tishtamri, yishtamer, tishtamer, nishtamer. I feel like we're going over this over and over again. It's because they decided to throw three of them together. So eshtamra, nishtamra, let me be careful, let us be careful. Hishtamer, this with the imperative starts with a hey. It's got the hit. Starts with a hey instead of the yod. Participles mishtamer, mishtameret, mishtamrim, mishtamrot. See if this is about metathesis that we just mentioned. So hit nakesh is with the root nun kuf shin. This means to be entrapped. He was entrapped. Nakesh. Hit nakesh. So if we've got the root kaf samech yod, or kaf, in this case it turns into hey. Hitkasa means he covered himself, like he covered up. Okay, so David, we were told that David, when he got older, it says that he was cold, and he covered himself up, and that's whenever Keturah came. Not Keturah. There was a woman they brought in to keep him warm. Don't remember who. Okay, so this is what happens with metathesis. Hit, shamer. Shamer is our root. The shin and taf trade places, and we get hishtamer. Okay, we've got hit sabel, tet and samech trade places, histabel. Okay, hit zaken, zaken we know is old. Hit zaken becomes his taken, and that zayin has a vocalized quality, so it turns the taf into a vocalized letter, which is dalet. He's daken. He's daken means he got old. He became old. He's daken.
That makes it real fun for looking these up in the dictionary.
It does, and it makes the words really long. With Hitpael words, they get really long. You just got to remember that these two metathesize, and you've got to look for zayin kuf nun in the dictionary. So hit zaha. Zaha means like identification. Hit zaha. He's taha, he's daha. He's daha, he identified himself, or he identified with something. One thing I didn't put in there was what happens with the tzadi. It slipped my mind because I was putting this together quickly today. So let's say tsa'ar. Tsa'ar means regret. To regret something, you say hitzta'er. So what happens? You got the hit, sa'er, hit sa'er. We don't like hit sa'er because you can't even hear the taf. they trade places, and you've got Hitpael, and then with it, when it's with a tzadi, it becomes tet, Hitpael. So Hitpael means he felt sorry or he regretted. Hitpael. Hitpael means he felt sorry or he regretted. Now we can go back to the presentation. That's what happens with tzadi. Okay, they trade places just like with Zion, but comes tet. Share. Okay, so we're going to look at a few of these verbs and parse them, generally. So we're going to look at form, stem, conjugation, person, gender, number. That's like 3ms. The root and gloss. Okay, so for example, nikbar. Okay, first of all, see the patach means it's the past tense, not the participle. Nikbar has a nifil. It's nifal because it's got the nun prefix. Nifal. So it's stem is nifal. Conjugation is the perfect. That's the past tense. Nikbar. It's third masculine singular. 3ms. And the root is kavar, is kuf betresh, meaning buried. So nikbar, he was buried. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to do. Yes, sir.
Why did the bait double in the?
It's not doubled. It's after
it's the B.
silent. It's after silent shaba.
So it's the hard B. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's beged kefet after silent shaba becomes hard. Cool. All right, so let's run through these and try to figure out what we're dealing with. When we're reading text in the Bible, we don't need always to stop and try to analyze everything that's going on. Generally, you need to read and understand it as well as you can. But sometimes you need to take the verb and pull it out and say, okay, that's kind of funny to me, and let's try to figure out what it is. If you ran across the word yikaver, yeah, in the Bible, how would you analyze this? The stem, conjugation, PGN, root, and gloss. Who would like to take that one?
Is that nifal?
It is nifal.
Yeah,
How do you reckon that that's nifal?
The doubling at the first letter of the root.
And which represents?
The assimilation of the noon.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And then
good.
Conjugation. Imperfect. Okay, and then it's imperfect. Third person, masculine, singular.
Yep.
Root, kaver.
Okay.
Kaver, and then will bury. He will bury.
Not he will bury.
He will be. He will be buried.
Great. Fantastic. Okay. John, do you want the next one to try to parse it out?
It looks on the surface to me like a call imperfect.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised given the chapter we're working on. So
I threw a bunch of stuff in.
So my instincts were right. So it's first person singular, common singular.
Yes.
And the root is the same as in the previous two. And I will bury.
I will bury. Look at that. Perfect. Jonathan, we want to grab the next one?
Sure. The ekaber. Ekaber is a nifal imperfect first common singular from kavar, meaning I was buried.
It's imperfect.
Sorry, I will be buried.
I will be buried. Good. Tikavro should have a meteg here by the kamatz to indicate that it's long. It's not a closed syllable. Tikavro. Okay, this is nifal. We see because of the assimilated nun in the first syllable. Okay, it's second masculine plural, because we've got this, the tav and the vav. So we've got nifal, imperfect, 2MP from kaval, meaning you, plural, will be buried. You will be buried. Okay. We're back to Jose, if you want to take this one.
Okay. Shamarta. It's kal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kal, and then it's perfect.
What indicates to you that it's kal? What indicates that to you?
It's kal. Actually, the other indications are not there. No doubling,
Exactly.
no
Yes.
assimilation. Because kal is
exactly,
very...
that's exactly how you have to think of it. That the kal
Yeah.
doesn't show the doubling in the middle radical, and it doesn't show the noon and the assimilation. It doesn't have a hit prefix. It doesn't have a hey prefix. It's just simple. So that's why it's kal.
Because I was reading the chapters, at first the book gives many indications. This is a kal, this is a kal with E and O. But then after reading up to Pual, I just said, if it has nothing of the other stuff, it's kal.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You don't see any indications. There you go.
And then conjugation perfect. And then you have the second masculine singular. Okay. Shamar.
Meaning?
You were singular. You kept.
You kept. Great. John, I don't want to give you this one because it's too simple. It's also kal, and it's imperfect, second masculine singular, meaning you will keep, okay? Or it could be third, of course, third feminine singular. I'll give you the next one. How about that one, John?
Teshmo. See if I pronounce it first. Teshamer.
Shamer. If we assume the meaning preserve, which is the modern Hebrew meaning.
Piel.
What indicates that it's Piel?
Oh yeah. Well, I was looking at the sere under the mem, but the doubling of the mem.
The doubling, exactly.
Yes.
That doubling, and that there's no hit. There's no hit on the beginning, because it could have doubling and it could have hit, and it would be Hitpael, right? Hit or tit or mit.
So it looks probably so Piel, imperfect.
Yes, and how do you know that?
The prefix.
Because it's a prefix, right? Because the imperfect has prefixes. Good.
And probably second masculine singular.
Yep, and it could be third feminine singular too, right? So the same.
And same root as above. And if it's second masculine singular, it'll be you will be kept.
It's we remember we're gonna give it the modern Hebrew meaning of preserve.
You will preserve.
You will preserve.
Oh,
yes.
so Piel, so it's not passive anyway. So
right.
You will preserve,
exactly.
She will preserve.
So the one that follows after it is the passive of the exact same form. So we can compare them directly here. To shamer, you will preserve, and to shumar, you will be preserved. So the difference is that to you, to u sound. So if we look at the next one, I'm just going to throw it out there. The difference, everything is exactly the same, but it's piel versus pual. So to shamer and to shumar. That's the difference there. It's you will be preserved or she will be preserved. Jonathan, you want to give us the last one?
Sure. Tishamer. It's nifal, imperfect, second masculine singular, but it's also third feminine singular. Could be either one of those.
Mhm.
From shamar, so you or she will be guarded or will be preserved.
I wrote careful. I meant
Or be
kept.
careful, yeah.
It
could be
it's
that.
kept. So what indicates that it's nifal and what indicates that it's imperfect?
Well, you've got, actually there are two indicators. There's the doubling of the first root letter, and also what I meant to suggest to you before was if there's a kametz under the first root letter, that's a good indicator as well that it's nifal, because nifal is the only one that'll do that.
Okay. I want to show what happens with another root, with the nifal. Okay, so let's say, you know achal, right? What is achal? He ate, okay. But let's say you gave food to a dog and the food was eaten. It would also be nifal. Let's see what, if we want to add nifal, these are the roots, the letters that we would get. Nichal. That's really ugly, right? First of all, Aleph doesn't like to have a silent shva, so it rejects it. And second of all, it just sounds bad, nichal. What happened was, instead of the silent shva, when you have the Aleph in the beginning, the Aleph took okay? And then this one would just would match it. So ne'echal. Ne'echal means it was eaten. Okay? Ne'echal. That's what happens when you have Aleph on the beginning. Let's see what happens when you have the future. So let's say that lechem, bread, you know, during Passover, there's a prescription on eating bread. You will not eat bread. Bread will not be eaten. Okay? So we've got it would normally be T and with the Nagesh in the next letter, because that's the assimilation of the noon with kamatz, right? Tiachel. The Aleph rejects the Nagesh. So what happens is instead you got te'achel. In the lechem would be lo ye'achel lechem. Ye'achel. Okay, so that kind of makes sense what happens, right? That the Nagesh is rejected, so the tzere replaces the kirik under the letter. That makes sense?
Is it the same for
thing.
all the gutturals?
Yes, I was going to say we have the word rasham. Rasham means right. So terashem, you will be written. Terashem, you will be written. Yerashem, it will be written. Yerashem. It could be Yirashem. It feels like it should be Yirashem. I'm going to check the Academy website. Logically, it should be with a tzere, but it feels like it's like people say it with chirik for sure. Let's see. Okay, binyan nifal. Where's nifal? 1 second. I'm just checking the Academy. I'll show you what I'm doing so you can see. Okay, so this is the Academy of the Hebrew Language. I looked up Rasham, the letters, and then I want the Nifal. Kal. Well, they don't have the Nifal. Let's go to one of these. Let's go to the Kal and see if we can pull up the Nifal anyway. This is a website that gives you all of the forms. There's Nifal. Okay, so the future, yeah. Te Rashem, see right there? For some reason, what you hear in the streets is Ti Rashem. You hear people say Ti, but logically it should be A. Ye Rashem. Can you see the form? That's what it should be, Ye Rashem and Te Rashem. That's what I was explaining. But people normally say it otherwise in Israel. I'm not sure why. Sometimes they say things wrong and they do it out of habit, but it's and then I second guess myself. But it's
Jason.
Yerashem, he will be written.
Jason, is that website focused on modern Hebrew or biblical Hebrew or both?
It is, but when there's a discrepancy, modern Hebrew and biblical Hebrew are generally the same. If there's a discrepancy, it will have like a slash, and it will have the older form on the left. Like if there's a form that we don't use in modern Hebrew, then it will write it on the side. See, like this one would say that this is a more antiquated form and that this is the one that would be used today in this case. Okay. All right, back to it. Okay, so I was just showing what happens with the guttural at the beginning, that it rejects Nagesh and it makes it Sere. And there's virtual doubling, of course, with Chet. Okay, so here we'll look at a few sentences for translation, and then we'll call it, we'll say that we're done, and we'll just answer questions that you might have from the book or from your own experience recently. So I pulled this out of Basics of Biblical Hebrew, out of the workbook. It's supposedly a verse from the Bible, I guess, but I want to change it around a little bit, and we're going to like translate this, and then I'm going to change it. You'll see I've got 4 versions of the same sentence, and we'll look at the differences between them. Okay, so first of all, what do we have here? Let's read the sentence, and then we'll look at the pieces of it. So John, you want to read number 1?
Okay, Hamelakim Diberu Hello.
That middle
Elohim.
syllable. Yeah.
Elohim. I was expecting something else.
Yeah, you're expecting Elohim.
Yes, I barreling along and had to
I'll
stop.
tell you what. When I was typing it, the computer also changed it to Elohim.
Okay. Kadvarim Ahel Leh
Ha'ele.
Ha'ela.
You remember
The
Ha'ele? Ha'ele means these. So these words. Okay. So the beginning of it, what's that?
The kings spoke.
Spoke. The king spoke. Notice the doubled bet in the middle is the Piel and Bulu. They spoke. The king spoke.
Alehem.
This is, if we cover up these 3 letters, we've got the word El. El means, it sounds like it, but it means two.
Sorry?
So two, it means two, like the preposition to the house, to Jerusalem.
Oh, to their people?
Yeah, the king spoke to them.
To them.
Alehem is to them. Okay, you know this word here without the kaf on there, right?
Words.
Words, great. And so the ah in front of it means the words. The kaf means according to.
Oh, it used the preposition tacked on the front.
Exactly.
Oh, according to these words.
When you speak according to these words, it means these are the words that you said. So the king spoke to them with these words, or in these words, according to these words. Okay. The next one is the same sentence. It's been rearranged, and now it's been made into a vav consecutive. Hoshea, do you want to read this one to us?
Yeah. Vaidavru Alehem.
The middle letter is doubled, and that's Nagesh. It's not a V. What is it?
Vaidaberu.
Vaidabu.
Alehem. Ham Lachim.
Okay, the mem there is missing a Nagesh because of Skinim Levi. Means that, you know Skinim Levi?
Those are letters like.
Mhm.
Le, mm, no,
It's like
what is-
S stands for all of the sibilants. That's Shin and
sibilants.
Sin, Sadi and Samech. Okay. And then Ka is Kuf.
Oof,
N is Nun, is the Nun. Mem is the
Mem.
Mem, of course.
mem,
Lamed, Vav, and Yod.
Yod.
All of them, when they have a vocal shva and they are doubled, they will often lose the doubling. Okay, so
Skin and
Hamlachim
Levi.
means
Ah,
Hamlachim,
mm,
the kings. You don't, it's not necessarily a closed syllable, like Hamlachim, but
okay.
Hamlachim,
Melachim.
Hamlachim.
Okay. Hamlachim.
Mhm.
Skin. Okay. Kadvarim. Haele.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
And doubling. Mm,
Yeah, the doubling there is missing, right? Because that's also Skinim Levi. That's an E.
uh,
You'll find this verse, this word all over the place, Vayidabru, and there's no Nagesh there. Okay.
yeah. Vaidabru. So, is this Piel?
Yep,
No.
it's Piel.
Okay. Elohim. And they spoke to them,
Mm-hmm.
the kings.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the subject here, the third one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The kings spoke to them according to these words.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Okay. The king spoke to them according to these words. It's normal when you have Vav
Kings.
consecutive.
Uh,
When you have Vav consecutive, that if you have a preposition with a personal ending like Alehem
yeah.
or Otam or Itam or Imahem or whatever, it will interrupt between the verb and the subject.
Yeah.
Only if it has a personal ending. If it says El Ha'am, to the people, you're going to see Vayidabru Hamelachim El Ha'am. El Ha'am will come after the subject. Okay? But what we have here, Vayidabru Alehem Hamlachim Kadvarim Ha'ele.
Because of the
And-
personal pronoun.
Exactly. That's attached to that.
I'm sorry. You're
So, I'm breaking up. Can you hear me?
You're fine.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you fine.
Great. So these are exactly the same, like, semantic meaning between these two sentences. Like if we're giving these pictures, we see the same thing. Hamlachim dibru alehem kadvarim ha'ele, vayidabru alehem hamlachim kadvarim ha'ele. It's the same picture. It's the same. It's describing exactly the same thing. This is what it's going to appear like in a narrative sequence, where that is, it's going from this one to that one, from this happened to that happened to that happened. The king spoke to them and blah, blah, blah. As far as the forms are concerned, this is perfect. This is imperfect, yedabru, with the vav consecutive. Okay. The next one that we're going to see is the actual imperfect. See the actual imperfect right there. And then after that, we're going to look at the future using the perfect with vav consecutive. Okay, so number 3. Jonathan, you want to read number 3?
Mm-hmm. Hamelachim yedabru alehem kadvarim ha'ele. Ha'ele, as you say.
Okay, you want to give us a rundown of its meaning?
Yeah. So the kings will speak to them according to these words.
Exactly.
So you have the imperfect coming after.
Mm-hmm. So you've got subject, verb, and then
Mhm.
indirect object. Exactly.
Mhm.
So while we had here up here dibru, they spoke, yidabru, they will speak. And then finally, I'll catch this one. Vedibru alehem hamlachim kadvarim ha'ele. This would be normally the future, okay, because it's the perfect. It's a perfect that's been basically flipped in its tense, is what they tend to say. So we have, instead of "and they spoke," we read it as and they will speak. So in this case, the kings will speak to them according to these words. So that just looks at the 4 different ways we could find the same verb with the 2 tenses, past and future, that are expressed in different ways in Hebrew. Okay. All right. So I've pulled a few other verses. I've got 15 sentences that we're going to run through. Some of them have Piel, some of them have Nifal, and some of them have Hitpael or Pual. We'll just look through them and we'll try to understand them as best we can. They're short sentences, and hopefully we won't have too much problem with the vocabulary in them. Okay. John, do you mind going again for this one, for number 5?
Okay. Dabru el ahavdeka.
I shouldn't have written it that way. It doesn't sound right. Because avadecha says one person and dabu says multiple people. Maybe I'll let me fix that real quick, and then it will take me 2 seconds, okay? And that way you can read it as I intended it to be read. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me fix it. I hate making mistakes like this. Okay.
Is our TV suddenly blasting around the world?
Our TV?
We can hear it.
You can. Okay, just a sec.
I can't hear it, but I guess they can.
It's not a huge deal. I can't hear it anymore. Oh, you're muted.
My roommate likes to do that. He turns the television up pretty loud in the living room while I'm in the middle of something.
Does he do that just to spite you because he knows you hate it?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
We can wait just a sec for him to come back. Okay, so I've changed number 5 so that the ending represents that it's multiple servants and multiple people being spoken to. So number 5 is ready for you now.
And the TV is once again silenced. It came on by accident.
That's fascinating.
Alexa, turn off the TV.
Dabru el ahavdekem va'amartem elehihem ki ya'asu kadvarim ha'elehem.
Ha'ele.
They spoke to the
Great.
servants.
This half here is missing its Nagesh
Spoke to them.
because it's following closely after a vowel here. It's basically, this is oftentimes when it's closely following a vowel, it will just drop out. It's not something that has to happen, but it does happen a lot. Okay, so what if you were to parse this verb? Is it Cal, Nifal, Piel, Pual, Hitpael? This one, what do you think?
Piel. Perfect.
It is Piel. It's not perfect. It's imperative. So the perfect would have Bulu. They spoke. Like this one here. See Bulu? They spoke. When you have the imperfect, it's Yedabru. They will speak. I want to take a look at that real quick because let's talk about what happens. How do you get the imperative? Okay, let's look. It's here. Okay. In the imperfect, we have tidabru and tidaber, right? Tidabri, tidaberna. To go from to get the imperative tense, the imperative mood, basically you take the imperfect and you take the taf off of it. So tidaber becomes daber. Tidabri, you will speak, speaking to a woman, becomes dabri. You just take that taf off of it. So tidaberna becomes daberna. And tidabru becomes dabru. So that's why we have the inside the imperative. Okay. So let's go back to that. That's a lot of material to go through. Huh? Here we go back to number 5. So this is an imperative. Speak. Speak.
To
You remember Eved?
no.
Eved is a slave. So this is slaves of.
You speak to your slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's the root right there.
tell
Amar. Mm-hmm. Good.
them
Mm-hmm.
These.
In this case, the key is going to be that. Tell them that.
That. No idea.
Okay, this is ein sin hey. The hey dropped out because it's imperfect. It's asa. Asa means he did. Yasu is, what's the person, number, gender for do? It's got the yod.
First.
Oh,
Plural.
the yod prefix is third person, right? Because it's hu yedaber vehem yedabru. It's the yod is the third person masculine, and in this case plural. I know it looks odd, but it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal. Ya'asu means they will do. They will do. It's the weird thing is that the hey disappears.
They will do according to these words.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Speak to your servants or your slaves, and you shall say. This is the perfect that's now acting as an imperative because it's got the same feel as the original verb. Dabu v'amartem, you shall say to them that they should do according to these words. The yasu is a modal. It's an irreal mode. It doesn't really mean they will do, but it's tell them that they should do. You know, it's almost.
Thank you,
subjunctive.
Jason. Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
It's almost subjunctive in the meaning. Okay, if you know the subjunctive in Greek. Actually, in classical Greek, it would be the optative because it's secondary sequence. Number 6.
Okay, on that note, Jason, I'm going to have to depart, but I'll be back next week.
Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed and you got stuff from it.
Bye, John.
Bye.
Good to see you.
See you later. So, Hosea, you get number 6, if you don't mind.
There you go. Anshay ha'ir shavru et luach ha'even.
Beautiful.
Okay.
You have any idea what that means?
Yeah, I practiced since our last meeting.
That was perfect. That was really good.
Anshay. The Anshay, the men or the women?
The men, right? The men of?
The men of the city. Yeah, okay. The men of the city. Shavar. Broke?
Yes, broke.
Broke and luwak. What's luwak? I don't recall this.
This is a luach.
Luach. Oh, board? Board? Or
Board, yes.
board.
But it also means tablet. Like in the Ten Commandments, there were 2 tablets. They were luchot. Luach is masculine, but it takes its plural as ot, luchot.
Okay. And broke the tablet of stone.
Yes, or the stone tablet, right?
Or the stone tablet, yes.
The stone tablet. So Anshe Ha'ir is construct. It's a construct phrase. Ha'ir is the city. Shavru is Kal.
Kal.
Shavar, Shavru. Okay, fantastic. What if we changed it a little bit and we did this one? Jonathan, what do you get from this one? Number 7.
Anshe ha'ir shivru et luchot habrit.
Mm-hmm.
So the men of the city, well, I'll do this the old-fashioned way. The men of the city shattered the boards of the covenant, or the tablets of the covenant.
Exactly. So we've got shavru and shibru. So shibru is an intensified form of this. We also see it with shalach. Shalach means he sent, and shileach means he sent away, or he sent out. So when Moses went to Pharaoh, he asked him to l'shalach or l'shaleach the people of Israel, to send them away, to send them out, so that they could go sacrifice to the gods of Israel. So here we've got Vayishlach Paro et lochamav. Okay, Pharaoh sent his warriors or his fighters. Lirdof achrei Yisrael ad hayam, to chase after Israel to the sea. Okay, Vayishlach. Vayishlach, he sent. The next one, instead of Vayishlach, we have, this one is Vayima'en. This verb Vayima'en is really nice in the Joseph story, where Potiphar's wife comes to Joseph and she tries to seduce him, and it says that Joseph refused, or he refused to do it. This is Vayima'en. He refused, and it has a nice accent on it. It's got an accent called Shelchelet, which is when you sing it, is Vayima'en. It's like very, very long and drawn out, like saying he really refused. So in this case, Vayima'en Paro, Pharaoh refused, L'shaleach et Am Yisrael Amidbar. He refused to send out Israel, the people of Israel, to the desert. So you've got Lishloach, to send, and L'shaleach. It's an intensive form of sending, to send out, or even to send away. Okay, this uses the same verb, Hosea number 10, if you would.
Okay. Vaishalach Paro et Israel Mimitzraim. And Pharaoh sent away Israel to from Egypt.
Beautiful. And so that again is the Piel form. Vaishalach. Vaishalach. Jonathan, you want to grab that one?
Sure.
Actually, I'm going to give you the next 3 because they are one verse from the Bible. This is one verse.
Okay. And we need to pick up the pace because I need to leave soon. Vayhi Avram bin Tish'im Shana Vatesha Shanim. And Abraham was Tesha. 7? No, 8.
Nope.
Is it 8? Is it 9?
This is why we're counting in the Aramaic group where we're doing numbers.
So Tesha Shanim, Vatesha Shanim. So is that 99 years old?
Ben tish'im shana v'tesha shanim.
Mm.
Yeah,
A
99
son
years
of
old.
90 years and 9 years.
So 99 years old.
Mhm.
Vayera Adonai el Avram, Vayomer elav, Ani el Shaddai.
Mhm.
He feared. Well,
Nope.
this is kind of weird, isn't it?
Not weird.
Vayera.
Nifal.
Yeah, it is Nifal. Why? Oh, he saw. Oh, he saw. Well, he saw
Appeared?
God. God appeared to Abraham. Good job, Hosea. Good job,
Let's
Hosea.
Let's see
The
what
lo-
happens there. Let's
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
see what happens real fast. So yir'ah is the future. He will see. Yir'eh. Yir'eh.
Mhm.
Nir'ah is the past. Nifal. Nir'ah. He appeared, meaning he was seen, meaning he appeared. If you go to the imperfect for this, the noon wants to assimilate. It cannot. It becomes a. What we would expect, yera'eh. Yera'eh, but it's going to become like this. Yera'eh, he will appear. But when you've got the vav consecutive, okay, va yera'eh, that disappears. The hey drops off, and you've got vayera. Vayera means and he appeared.
Yeah, I always forget to
big
take it to the appear.
Remember
To be
with
seen,
the
to be appeared. Yeah.
with the vav consecutive, you've got yivneh,
Mm-hmm. To Vayivan.
okay, and when you add the vav consecutive with final hays, you drop the hey ending in this case, and that doesn't like it, so you say vayivan, and that's the vav consecutive, vayivan and he built. Okay, so vayera'eh is the same principle of dropping the hey, and then you got your form. So let's go back.
Neat.
Okay, so vayera,
So
he appeared.
Yahweh appeared to Abraham, and he said to him, I am El Shaddai. I am God Almighty. Something like that. Hithalech lefanav vehyeh.
Lefanai.
Sorry, lefanai vehyeh tamim. This is, well, walk before me and be pure or blameless or something like that.
So italech is the imperative, right? And it's the hitpael of halach. So walk ye before me, or whatever. Okay.
Walk
Good.
ye.
We've got two more. So I'll take this and I'll give the Hosea the last one, and then we'll be finished. Vayomer Adonai Elai al titpalel be'ad ha'am ze letova. So God said to me, the Lord said to me, do not pray. Al titpalel. Al titpalel is do not pray. It's using the second person imperative, or the second person. What's the future? Imperfect. Second person imperfect, as a negative command. Al titpalel. Do not pray. Al titpalel be'ad for ha'am hazeh, this people, letova, for good things. Okay? Don't pray for good things for these people.
That is not good news.
Because God was mad because they made the golden calf.
Okay. So Vayomer Yehoshua El Ha'am Hit Kadshu Ki Machar Yaase Adonai Bekir Bekhem Niflaot.
I just
Okay.
translated this yesterday with another guy. Fun.
Really?
And Joshua and Joshua said to the people, sanctify Hitpael.
Sanctify yourselves, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's the reciprocal idea.
Sanctify yourselves because Makar Yaase. Mahar.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Mahar is different. Tomorrow, Adonai will go up.
will do.
No, will do. Will do.
Yeah, say.
Will do. In your presence, in your midst.
In your midst.
In your
Very
midst. What he
good,
will do in the
very good.
midst. Pala. Palot. Pal? Sorry. No. This, I forgot this one. Nipalot.
Niflaot is from
Niflaot.
Nifla, wonder, wonders.
Wonders. Okay.
Joshua said to the people, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders in your midst.
In your midst. Okay.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Good
The
job,
last thing on there
Hosea.
is Sheilot of Shayim. Do you have any questions or difficulties? And I don't think we need to go over that anymore because I think you guys did great. Lots of information in that. I don't think that the authors intend you to be masters of the Hitpael by the end of this chapter. It's just to give you a passing knowledge so that we can get into deeper issues with it, especially when we run into it with our readings. Thank you very much. Anything that we need to cover before we set you free?
I'm good.
All right.
Just a comment about the textbook. Even if it says don't spend time in, especially when it discusses the historical stuff, no, I get caught up in it and try to understand.
That's not a bad thing. Historical stuff is fun.
Yeah, but it actually says don't sweat it or some other way.
But the thing about historical stuff is sometimes if you can get it down and if it's not over your head, it can help you understand why things work the way they work.
That way. Yeah,
so
I still read it even though the textbook says don't actually mind this. But
well, don't get steeped in it. Don't stress out.
Well, don't get bogged down. Like if it's something heavy for you, don't freak out and and lose it. But if it's something you enjoy, then by all means do it. Okay, so we'll meet on Tuesday for reading. Reading is not recorded. It's just going to be fun, social, sit and read and lower the affective filter and all of that stuff that Stephen Krashen likes to talk about. All right, we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
All right, see you. Thank you, Jason. Bye, Hosea.
Bye.
Have
Bye,
a good
Sir
day.
Jonathan. Bye,
All
Sir
right.
Jason.